This here is me versus myself, but the dude on the right is a way faster version of myself. Not much is different, but the few things that are making an enormous improvement in the speed and enjoyment of the dude on the right. So here it is, biggest difference number 1. On the right, I actually have vastly improved brain function. The brain on the right is operating very well. It can think with much more clarity. It can think more quickly. It is capable of really getting in the zone and working on the task at hand, and it can experience excitement, passion, and enjoyment like it's 16 again. And that translates into a feeling of positive, strong mental energy. And when you have good mental energy, I don't even have to tell you, it feels like there's more charge in the battery to do everything, especially for moving those muscles quickly and rapidly. On the left, man, that brain felt like it was just dragging ass just to get out of bed. I have spent the better part of the past decade trying relentlessly to improve my mental health and get this brain working like I know it should. So I've worked with doctors, tried medications, experimented with diet, supplementation, lifestyle, exercise, mind hacks, thought hacks, meditation, you name it, everything to fight and claw my way out of the stupid, unendurable hell that is poor mental health. And I've made ground, and the benefits are obviously very real. Biggest difference number 2. On the right, I had gone through a phase where I had messed up my elbow and had to figure out how to ride in ways that did not stress that elbow. And for a good chunk of that, I was figuring that out while riding on a 1982 twin shock that rode like a jackhammer. So I was really picking my riding apart, and when I would ride a trail and come across something where I felt the strain, I would go back and try that section or obstacle many different ways until I found the way that was the smoothest and didn't hurt. It just so happened that when I did that, I was forcing myself to figure out minor tweaks to get through various situations more easily and more efficiently, and that turns out to be overall faster. Over time, I started to notice and actually write down some real patterns with the way that I was making sections easier, and that made me much more conscious of what I was doing and what was happening all the time, and I became rapidly better at self-coaching, so I became a much more tuned rider much more quickly than ever before. Alright, so that's all nice for me, right? But what are the actionable lessons for someone else here? I'd say when it comes to mental health, if you want significant improvement like I've experienced, you really have to be proactive with seeking out options and then experimenting carefully and methodically over time, instead of just passively relying on one doctor or therapist or whatever to try to manage your treatment, because they're probably just running you through a flowchart and they're very unlikely to try anything outside of what is typically accepted. So you have to really scour the internet and figure out what's out there, and you have to be the one that suggests giving something a try if you think it might benefit you, and you have to be totally relentless in the pursuit of improvement, because at least for me, it has been a long road of most things not working, some things making everything worse, many things working short term but not long term, and occasionally finding something that moves the needle in the right direction and keeps it moving in the right direction, or at least doesn't let it flick back hard in the wrong direction. An example I can give of something that really helped but would have never been suggested by 99% of doctors out there is psychedelic treatment. It is just not yet on the mainstream flowchart, but I can tell you it will become more recognized, because taking a little journey to the wonderland of your own mind, being given the opportunity to engage in a direct boss battle with your own deeply buried demons, coming out victorious, and never feeling weighed down by those things ever again is, in my experienced opinion, much better than taking your daily chemicals and hoping nothing gets out of whack over time. As far as multiplying the improvement in riding skill that comes from seat time and breaking through plateaus, you can pretty much replicate my experience by temporarily halting all efforts and setting aside all desires to solve your skill issues with bike changes of any kind. I hear it from freaking everyone, where they keep talking about, oh, I get bucked on that type of rock or kicker, I think I'm gonna try a different shock setup. Or, yeah, I just can't seem to sling it around that rocky S-bend like everyone else, so I think I'm gonna spend hundreds on weight reduction efforts. Dude, just for once, for one season. Just try setting all that aside and commit to putting all that energy that used to go to round and around analysis of your bike into a concentrated effort of actually figuring out what you have to do differently to make an improvement in that one area where you lack, and voila, you will have turned yourself into the upgrade you thought you needed.